ladies and gentlemen, it's Kevin Jackwitz here with the Kaged review. And I'm going to review Monday Night Raw for 4/30/18. And it's really weird because you have the Raw after WrestleMania, you have the Superstar Shakeup, and then you had a really big lull. I mean, it was kind of a... When compared to really good shows, when you have a show that's not even terrible but bad, it just seems so much worse than it was. And I guess I was not expecting much from this one. I figured that they were going to keep that momentum. But I think I was wrong with that. I think that they actually did a pretty damn good job. And so they start out, they do a recap of the greatest Royal Rumble. And not a big deal. But Roman Reigns comes out first, and we all know that the crowd's going to boo Roman Reigns no matter what. He's just not going to be top guy. And that was because of his push and the fact that he kept stumbling on his promos and people just did not connect with him. They didn't want him to be the guy, and they let WWE know. But unfortunately for Roman, it's just stuck. So first, Jinder Mahal comes out to interrupt him. Roman Reigns was talking about Brock Lesnar and how he should be the champion right now. Jinder Mahal, don't know why he interrupted him. Like, there's really no place for Jinder Mahal in this whole segment. But then Sami Zayn comes out. And they're in Canada, they're in Quebec, I think it's Quebec. And the place just pops like crazy. Because of course Sami's from Canada. And then Kevin Owens comes out and the place pops like crazy again. And so you got a couple of hometown boys in Canada, and it looks like they're building a fight between one of these guys and Roman Reigns. Kevin Owens is like, you know, do you guys want to see Jinder Mahal versus Roman or Sami versus Roman? And they popped way more for Kevin, which apparently they knew they would. And so it looks like there's going to be this confrontation between Owens and Reigns. Reigns smacks Owens, and then all three guys, Jinder, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens, jump Roman Reigns, which the crowd actually started cheering for. And then Bobby Lashley comes down, and Roman Reigns is already on the mat, so all three guys start jumping Bobby Lashley. And then Braun Strowman comes out. So then you have all three of the faces, Strowman, Lashley, and Reigns. They throw all the other three guys out of the ring. They're standing tall. So clearly you know that there's going to be a 3-on-3 match for later in the night. After that, you have a match with Elias versus Bobby Roode. Elias does his usual gimmick, gets over with it. Of course, he gets interrupted again by Bobby Roode's music. Really long match, honestly, by comparison. I think it was like 9:45 when this match ended. Maybe it was definitely somewhere between 9:30 and 9:45. They went through 2 commercial breaks and come back, and Bobby Roode had been feigning this neck injury the whole time. He gets slammed into a ring post, and then suddenly he can't continue. He's grabbing his neck, saying he can't breathe. He called medical doctors out. I'm pretty sure it was all shtick. Elias grabs the microphone, says, "I win," walks to the back. Come back from a 3rd commercial break, and they're still talking about Bobby Roode and his neck injury, and who knows what's going on there. So at almost the 9 o'clock hour, you get a couple of local guys, Jean Paul and Francois. who take on the Authors of Pain. And it was a couple of local guys, nobody knows, and it was a complete squash match. Typical thing that WWE does when they bring in big guys, they want them to look beast, so they bring in a bunch of nobodies, not realizing that it does not make them look beast. It doesn't. Nobody knows these guys, nobody cares. So Author of Pain, they roll over, they do a quick promo. Not the best on promo. Wasn't terrible, but you know, I don't know how well they're going to get across to people. They need to up their promo for sure. Then you get a Seth Rollins promo. He walks out to the ring, and the crowd just, I mean, goes crazy. I'm talking Attitude Era pops. Seth Rollins was actually covering his ears because it was so loud, and it really came through watching TV how raucous this crowd was. And this is what used to make wrestling fun. And I have to say, watching the Saudi Arabian crowd and then watching the Canadian crowd, it's like we should be embarrassed because this originated in the States. It's mostly in the States, and the crowds there are so quiet sometimes that it's like, it's almost pointless. And I love that. I love the crowds taking over the show. I love crowds being incredibly vocal like that because I've been to the live events. And let me tell you, it's a different experience anytime you go to something live. There's just an energy there that you don't have sitting in front of your TV. And so I really appreciated how crazy this crowd got for Seth Rollins. And then Finn Balor comes out and it was the same thing. They had a huge pop for Finn Balor. So they're doing a promo. They're going back and forth about how Finn Balor wants another shot at the Intercontinental Championship. And it's at that point Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel come out. And they're saying they're still trying to get the band together with Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. They open up these vests that show all four of the pictures of the guys on their shirts. And they're talking about starting the new Four Horsemen. At which point, of course, Seth Rollins and Finn Balor are going to say no, it starts a fight. Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, take care of those two. And then Finn Balor grabs Seth Rollins from behind and drops him with an elbow. So Finn Balor letting Seth Rollins know that, you know, he's still there. These two have had a pretty good rivalry going on lately. Their matches have been absolutely stellar. So I do like the fact that they're continuing on because these guys, I mean, they put on some incredibly entertaining matches. So after that whole promo bit, you get Ruby Riott versus Sasha Banks. Of course, the Riott Squad's down there with her. During the match, you see Bayley watching on the monitor. And, I mean, good match. The thing I take away from this match is that I understand doing the heel heat and, you know, having the other girls interfere, but I think it was at such an extent in this match that, like, if you're trying to script this and make any kind of realism, you know, to where the referee wouldn't either eject them from the match or disqualify them, I actually think this went way too far as the interference. Because it happened a lot and it was so blatantly obvious and it was right in front of the ref. And, you know, when you're trying to sell stuff like that, there's got to be that line where reality sets in at some point. Other than that, it was a good match and it was a good ending. I mean, you know, Riott gets over with the Riott Squad interfering and it gives her the heel heat and stuff. I just feel like with that interference, with that heel heat, they took it to the nth degree. So I think it actually did kind of take away from the match a little bit. But other than that, like I said, no complaints with it. After that, you get an excellent moment of bliss. Alexa Bliss has had this thing going on the last couple of weeks where she does this thing where she's talking about how Nia Jax is a bully and she goes into these horrible things that she's done. But it's all tongue-in-cheek and it's very funny. Alexa Bliss really pulls this off very well. She's got some acting skills. She's definitely got some comedic timing behind her. So it's a really funny, really good segment. And I really think this is going to propel Alexa Bliss even further in her career because the crowd's really reacting to it too. Backstage after that, you get an interview. I think it was Charlie. I don't know if it was Renee or Charlie, but either way, they're talking about Titus O'Neil, tripping and literally going underneath the ring at the greatest Royal Rumble pay-per-view, and he starts, making an excuse, cuts himself off. He says, you know what, I tripped, whatever. So it was kind of funny, and then Baron Corbin interrupts and says it would have been better if you had not tripped, you would have been more of a hero or whatever, because Titus said it's not how many times you fall, it's how many times you get back up, and then, of course, Corbin kind of tears that down. So after that, you get your 3-on-3 tag match with Jinder Mahal, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn versus Braun Strowman, Bobby Lashley, and Roman Reigns. And it's typical WWE, people in their hometown lose. I don't know why they do that, but pretty much every time, if you're in your hometown, you're going to lose. It's very rare that they don't do that. And it was a good match all the way around, but yeah, at the end, Braun Strowman catches, I think it was Sami Zayn, gives him the power slam, they get the win. There was nothing really memorable about this match. I mean, it was decent, it was enough to keep you entertained. I think the highlight for me was actually Braun Strowman. He's kicking ass in the ring, and then Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens are outside the ring. So he, do something to Jinder Mahal, walk out, and then run as fast as he can and steamroll Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Go back in the ring, do something to Jinder, come out and do it again. So it was really fun. That part was good. After that, you get a match versus Baron Corbin versus No Way Jose. Don't really care about No Way Jose yet. There's nothing really... I'm not into these caricature personalities anymore. I thought Adam Rose was kind of lame as hell, and I think this is the same thing. So Baron Corbin, he's out there, he's taking care of business. Titus Worldwide interrupts because of Baron Corbin interrupting the interview with Titus O'Neil earlier. They do this little shtick where Titus starts running down the ramp, and Apollo Crews stops him, has a towel, and kind of wipes off the metal sheeting there. And then Titus just kind of tiptoes down to the ringside. It was kind of a funny moment. He acts like he's going to get in the ring to, fight with Corbin, and then Mox trips himself, falls off the apron, and No Way Jose rolls up Baron Corbin, gets the win on him. I'm not a big fan of Corbin, and so far I'm not a big fan of No Way Jose, so ultimately I don't really care about the match, but I did like how they played off Titus's little fumble at the Greatest Royal Rumble, and they used it to further a different storyline. So it was cool. I'll give him credit there. Mickie James has a match with Natalya after that, and it's Mickie James with Alexa Bliss, and Natalya has Ronda Rousey with her. And decent match. I don't even know what happened at the end. I think Mickie James picked up the win over Natalya, but I'm not positive. I noticed, I think I was making food or something, and the last I saw was Natalya in the ring holding her leg, and Ronda Rousey was chasing Alexa Bliss really quickly around ring time a couple times, and then Alexa Bliss goes up the ramp. And then Ronda Rousey goes back in to check on Natalya in the ring. So I'm assuming that Mickie James won that one. After that, you get an iPhone promo with Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler saying they're not here to steal the show, they're here to take whatever they want, I guess, from the tag team division. And that leads into your main event, which was Finn Balor and Seth Rollins. Like I said, every time these guys get in the ring together, they're just so damn good. And this really was a really good match. A lot of high flying moves, a lot of technical moves, a just something to keep you really glued to the TV. And there was a couple of really cool spots in here, and so I have to give this like all the credit in the world that they put this on last and they actually let these guys shine. Seth Rollins has always been really great in the ring, and Finn Balor as well. And I honestly wasn't sure at times that they were going to take the belt off Seth Rollins, because, you know, there were a couple of times it looked like they might. At the end, Seth Rollins wins, and obviously I'm not sad about that. I really like Rollins. I think he's great. I think he deserves to be WWE Champion or Universal Champion, not just Intercontinental. But, you know, they're going to keep feeding Brock for now, so. But, I mean, I was pretty happy with the show overall. I mean, you know, certainly not perfect by any means, but compared to the week before, it was an improvement for sure. Not as good as the 2 weeks prior, coming off of WrestleMania, but still very, very good. So, I mean, I'm somewhere in between a 6 and a 7 out of 10 for this. And I think I'm going to leave it right there, like a 6.5 out of 10, because there were a couple of things I wasn't a big fan of. Like I said, I'm not really invested in No Way Jose or Baron Corbin. The opening segment was cool. The crowd, actually, you know what? No, I'm going to go with 7 out of 10, because the crowd honestly made part of this show. They really did. I think it was really cool and refreshing to see a crowd that just went bonkers for this, the way people used to. When they come back to the States, you're going to see a difference there. And that's sad, but it is what it is. So, yeah, I think I'm going to stick with 7 out of 10. It was a pretty good show. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you enjoyed the review, hit the like button, subscribe, and share. My name is Kevin Jackwitz. Kaged Nation out.